Hello world, hello Australia, this is Jamie here at Crypto Koala. Now today I've got Mark Jeffrey. He is the CEO and founder of Guardium Circle. Now mate, it's good to have you with us today. Now mate, tell us all about yourself.
Well, my name is Mark Jeffrey, founder of Guardium Circle. I've been variously a CTO and co-founder of several tech companies over the last 20 years or so. I'm also an author, published by HarperCollins, of fiction, as well as a couple books on Bitcoin. One I published in 2013 called Bitcoin Explained Simply, and another one in 2015 called The Case for Bitcoin.
Oh, okay.
So I've been on the block a few times.
So that's something you guys can check out if you like, and check out Mark's books. He sounds like you've got a bit of background knowledge on Bitcoin and blockchain.
Yeah, well, I got very interested in it in 2013 when I finally kind of understood what I was looking at. I remember I heard about it first in 2011, and I initially dismissed it because I thought it was like a Flues clone. If you remember Flues in the 90s, it was a virtual currency that was promoted by Whoopi Goldberg. Right. And it was kind of this, I know, and it's kind of this centralized database thing, and it never really went anywhere. And when I first heard of Bitcoin, I was like, it's like Flues. I've heard of that before. It didn't work then. It's not going to work now. And basically I saw two friends of mine, Michael Turpin and Brock Pierce, get really excited about Bitcoin. And I kind of was like, something's going on here. And so I finally took the time to slow down and, as an engineer, go and read up on it. And even as a software engineer, I didn't understand a lot of the papers I read. It was just sort of so foreign. And the papers were so full of crypto mysticism, you know what I mean? That they were so dense that when I finally got it in my head, I was like, oh, this is actually pretty simple. It just, nobody had really explained it well. This was like in 2013. And so once I understood it, I was like, oh my God, am I seeing what I think I'm seeing? You know, like many people, I had that kind of reaction of, holy crap, this is as important or more important than the internet, I think.
Look at epiphany, it's sort of like a Eureka moment.
Yeah, and it's sort of like that's an insane thought, right? And so I was like, am I insane? And basically, I didn't think I was, oddly. And so I wrote a book like over the course of the next 5 days. And it's a small book. It's not a very large book. It's about 40,000 words or so. And I just simply because I thought I could explain it better than anyone had explained it yet to the average person. That was really who my audience was. Because I thought this was so important. Like everyone had to know about it. So that was kind of how I caught the bug and how I got into this whole thing.
Great, mate. How did that go into Guardium Circle? So what's Guardium Circle about?
So Guardium Circle, and Guardium is the token, it's global decentralized emergency response. So we're basically thinking of this as a new worldwide public utility based on blockchain technology. So what exactly do we mean? Well, 6 billion people on Earth have no 911. There is no magic number that you can call when the stuff goes down. For the rest of us, for the other billion, we have 911. But it sucks. It's terrible and it's getting worse. And just one example, when you call on your mobile device, they have no idea where you are. Uber can find you more easily than 911, which is just insane.
Yeah, wow.
So I started, and I had sort of a personal incident in my life where my girlfriend basically had a stroke-like event. She's fine. I always like to say that right away. This is not the girlfriend memorial app, don't worry.
Okay.
So she's fine, but she basically was alone for about half an hour. And there were about 7 people within 1,000 yards of her. She was drowning in help, literally. And she just had no way to access it. So later on, I went looking for apps that solve this problem. And while I found a lot of panic button apps that would sort of send a text message to someone, there wasn't anything that sort of got everyone into the same war room at the same time. And by that, I mean like, a map with everyone's location, not just the person in trouble, and a chat room where all those people could talk. And the key thing was they all needed to be sharing location and being able to communicate without having to know one another ahead of time. And that was the kind of weird key thing. And so that became Guardium Circle. And once we had that, we decided to expand it. We said, this should be the new 911 grid. 911 should work like this. And so after your friends, family, and neighbors are on it for free, we should add in other services. So paid private response of various kinds. So think, EMTs that are off duty, Uberized and paid responders. If you're in a remote village, you might have someone who is taking care of your emergency transport. And it might just be like the guy with the truck that can run you down the mountain, you know? So just thinking about the 6 billion people on Earth who have no 911, if we created a cryptocurrency and a way to create emergency response contracts and sort of manage all this, this could and should be the new 911. So the way the world should work and will work very soon is like this. Wherever you are in the world, whenever you're in trouble, all you have to do is push a button. That button might be in an app. It might use an API that we've provided that allows you to connect any device to it. When you push that button, your alert is sent to the cloud. The cloud looks down and sees what people and resources are already nearby. It then organizes, coordinates, and pushes all of that help to you as quickly as possible. So we're creating a flash mob of help. So think like 10 people in 3 minutes, as opposed to 2 people in an hour or maybe.
Mate, what an incredible idea. I'm just thinking how that could apply to, say, in Australia. Just the other day, you get people, just for an example, someone's bitten by a snake, because where we live, we've got some real deadly snakes here. And, you've got kids in the background, you've got dogs in the background. And just say, for instance, someone gets bitten by a snake. Now, there's remote communities where emergency services don't get to them people quickly. Yes. And you could have your next door neighbor could be a first aider who knows how to treat snake bite. So, 1 in 10, you could have someone in the neighborhood who's got that app that can assist that person who's just had a snake bite.
Yes.
So I can see how this could be really useful in, say, Australia and globally. So, yeah, that idea is so good. So good, Mark. So, mate, tell me the long-term vision of Guardium Circle. What you guys looking to do with your app long-term?
So, long-term, the ultimate goal is to replace and or become the world's emergency grid, communications and alert grid, and also main point for distributing emergency response services for the world. So no matter where you go in the world, this is what you use, and this is what everybody uses everywhere. So there's really 2 pieces of it that we will take care of. One is the alert grid itself. So to that end, we've already provided an API that allows anyone to connect any device. So and I don't just mean a panic button. I mean things that are sort of passive. So for example, you might have a bracelet or a watch which detects an irregular heartbeat, or if your grandpa wanders away from the house, right, because he's old and wanders off the reservation every once in a while. If he breaks a geofence, that could set off the alert. There's voice alerts, so you can, if you've fallen and you can't get up, you can say, Alexa, I've fallen and I can't get up. And
that's wow.
So basically 911 as it exists today does not have an API that lets us invent cool new stuff and plug it in. It should. And so that's the first piece that we're doing. And we've partnered with the Women's Safety X Prize, which is a panic button alert device contest. We provided our API to be the back end that those panic buttons plug into. So there's that. The second half of it is managing the responders. So we opened this new alert grid not only to devices, but any sort of private response. And that scales from individuals up to bonded and licensed armed security, depending on where you live. We have that in LA, actually. As well as EMTs, medical, and other ambulance service, those kinds of things. There are lots of companies and privates. Most emergency services, by the way, around the world are privatized already. It's only sort of in some countries only that they're public. So I know in South America it's largely privatized. So we want to make this economical by using a cryptocurrency. First of all, we can change the economics of this so that average people can make money as responders. And also we can make it cross-border. So when you travel, you don't have to worry about, oh, I got to change my dollars and the francs or I don't know, whatever it is. So we just want to make it international. And finally, there are different services that we're building into the blockchain part. One is we record the alert transcripts there. So we know, we have a full timeline of who said what, where everyone was, when they responded or did not respond. So much richer records. There's a lot of things like that. I won't go into all of them, but that should give you a flavor.
But mate, that's pretty awesome, because what it is, we've got emergency service over here, like SES. They're like volunteers. You've got the Royal Fire Service. You've got like first responders, like paramedics, and our system, look, the Medicare is like the Medicare health system, and I could actually see the government, the local government, the government's using this sort of program, because this is something that could really be used in our community over in Australia as well. So you can incorporate, and like there's a lot of care homes around. I know with my nan, and she had a panic button. So that's a really cool idea, where, you know, you've got your next door neighbour, or you've got a member of the family, and something goes wrong, panic button can go to the hospital, or could go to your next door neighbour. Just some really good concepts there, Mark. Definitely, mate. So,
yeah, I think I just want to say one thing. So we're certainly not against having the normal government responders on this same grid. We want that, and I think that ultimately we do plug them in, and they'll want to be plugged in once like everybody else is on it. Just like, you know, at first the taxi services didn't want to be on Uber, and then once Uber is everywhere, all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, we have to be part of this world. So I think that will happen with us. Number one. Number two, some people are skeptical of citizen responders. So let me give you just one example where the citizen, you had one example, because in Australia you're so spread out that, you know, citizens are kind of your only option in a lot of instances. In India, there's a big problem with rape, women being assaulted. But it's worse than you think, because when they call the police come and assault them also.
Okay, yeah.
Right, which is really sad, but that's the thinking. So just trying to solve this problem, you know, the answer is not more cops. So the only option is a citizen-based response of some sort. So that is actually what the XPRIZE people, that is specifically the problem they're trying to solve with the Women's Safety XPRIZE.
So it's more than just a medical, it's not just a medical response when you're in dire need. It's also when you're in dire need for other situations as well. So it can be a duress alarm as such.
Yeah.
Mate, so it's got more than one application. Because something to note is that you actually have an app, you have a working product. So I guess you developed this through GitHub, did you, Mark?
Yeah, so we have working apps right now, and they're deployed worldwide on iOS, Android, and Alexa. And that's the Guardian Circle app. So if you go search for that, that's there. And that's the free version, which allows you to connect to friends, family, and neighbors. That will always be free. We're never going to charge for that. The enhanced response, which uses the Guardium token and blockchain, and, you know, the paid services, that's what we're building, and that is coming. We're in the token sale right now, so that over the next year is when we plan to release that.
Oh, brilliant! So you've actually got something. You've actually got apps which people can download available before the ICO. So that's just something to note, guys. I'll put down the links below to them apps as well and their website. But that's something to note. A lot of these projects, a lot of these ICOs don't actually have a product. You actually have a product already that's readily available. So that's really good, guys. If you're looking at getting involved and investing with Guardian Circle, they've got something already in place. So, mate, I know you just mentioned something about your ICO details there. So maybe we could just go in, because we've heard all about Guardian. So actually, just maybe talk about maybe the Guardian token a bit. How will the Guardian token be used, or how will that be used?
Sure. So there's 5 different ways in which Guardium is used. First, it's used to form the emergency response contracts and as a form of settlement. So we've gone over some of those examples. And basically, the way it'll work is in each locality, there will be a market of services that are available for you to subscribe to. And that it'll change what services are available and how much they cost will change, you know, depending on where you are. So think of us as we're Time Warner, and we'll, you know, these things will be like Showtime, HBO, right? So you'll be able to choose from kind of a smorgasbord. And the way in which you'll pay and which the other side will be paid is in Guardium. And our hope is that the responders save some of their Guardium, and our hope is that they do very well with it. And the analogy might be, you know, if you were an Uber driver in 2010 and you were one of the first people driving an Uber in San Francisco, and you were paid an Uber coin as an early participant in that economy, theoretically, you would have done incredibly well. That Uber coin may have well appreciated like Bitcoin has, for example. So that is obviously our hope. We can't guarantee that that's going to happen, but that is what we hope happens. Second of all, we allow for remote sponsorship of emergency response contracts. So you and I can send Guardium to someone in the developing world directly. And because we've sent directly, and so that they can buy emergency response services, because we've sent directly, we've not sent through a bank, a government, or an organization. So we know that the Guardium was not spent inefficiently or inappropriately. And down the road, we're going to enable sort of this blockchain explorer in English, so that with Guardium, you can track every donated dollar after you donate it. So, track every penny as easily as a FedEx package. You should be able to see that kind of impact. So that stuff that happened with the Red Cross in Haiti, it's impossible here. So the third thing we do, we store all the alert transcripts on the blockchain. Like I said, they're very rich transcripts. They have more information than just a phone call. Now, the cool thing about that is after we encrypt it and put it on the blockchain, we hand the keys to the alerting party. So they have custody. They decide who sees it and who doesn't. We don't. And we can't even get at that information even if we wanted to. We don't have the keys. 4, we create an emergency information lockbox. This is basically a record of all the stuff that you don't want anyone to know about unless you're in trouble. So it could be your secret health issue. It could be where you hid the key in the front yard that opens your door. It could be your Bitcoin private keys, whatever you want to put in here. This information is only released when you declare an emergency, and it only is unlockable by your designated recipient. So it's a 2-key system.
Okay.
Yeah, and again, it's encrypted in such a way that even we can't get at it, even if we wanted to. And 5th, almost boringly enough, it doubles as a loyalty program for Guardian Circles. So if you download it, if you invite your friends, family, and neighbors to be Guardians with you in your system, we'll spiff you a little bit of Guardian.
Oh, that's great. So it's got a good incentive there. It's just something that I thought, if a country overseas, like a developing country, and you want to set up this program, instead of going through a third party, so saying going through like a MoneyGram or FedEx, or going through that sort of system, you can directly give them Guardium and the Guardium token. So say the Red Cross, for example, in Africa, and they have the Guardian Circle app, and they are looking at doing that sort of a system. And someone can send them Guardium directly. So that's the beauty of decentralized, using the blockchain, where you don't have to go through the banks, and you can directly give them Guardium tokens. So I can guess that's where the Guardium token could be really useful. So mate, just go into your ICO details now. How can people get involved? If people want to, when you've got your ICO coming up soon, so when is your ICO, Mark?
Yeah, so we are actually in private pre-sale right now. By the way, the website is tokensale.guardiancircle.com.
Okay, so I'll put that down below, mate. Yep.
So right now we're in private pre-sale. So that's basically 25K minimum, and 40% discount. It's a pretty good deal. That ends on January 23rd, at which point we go into public pre-sale, and there'll be a different bonus, and it'll be less than what it is right now, and the minimum will be a lot less. We haven't announced that yet, what those details are, but that will change on January 24th. It'll all change, and then we run that for a little while, and then on March 20th is our public sale. So that's when the website will be open to anyone. So unfortunately, though, we won't open it up to unaccredited U.S. investors. We can't. Just bottom line, like a lot of people. It kills me, but there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah, I know. It's a problem with a lot of ICOs. There's a lot of hoops you've got to go through to get that level of that compliance for US citizens. I know it's a big drama, and I've got seen counting that with other ICOs. So outside of the US, Australia, Europe, can invest and get involved in your pre-sale and your ICO as well. So that's really good, mate. So we've talked about when your ICO details. So how can people get involved? So is it all in the links below, mate?
Yeah, it's all in the links below. Everything's on the website. So just if you're in either the private pre-sale or public pre-sale group, there's a place you can send your email in. So just send it in and you'll get an email with lots of cool information and further instructions on how to actually participate and purchase, and all kinds of news and stuff like that too. Also, please join our Telegram channel. We always need more people on the Telegram channel, so please do. And that link is on the site as well. So at tokensale.guardiancircle.com. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, and download Guardian Circle. Please use it forever. Use it right now. Be safe.
Yeah, definitely, mate. So what's the primary, what you said in Ethereum? Are you going to be on the Ethereum platform or what?
We are not. We're kind of strange in that way. We looked at doing an ERC20 token. We looked at doing, Bitcoin token. We looked at a lot of things. And I'll just go into one. We decided to do our own token. So it's our own blockchain, our own coin. We pretty much forked Litecoin, bottom line. There's a few of the little bells and whistles in there. Jim Blasco, who is behind the Aspire token, which hasn't come out yet, but he's done a whole bunch of other tokens that you've probably heard of. He's the guy who actually built our coin. So we got to really, we know someone good did it. We didn't just try to do something from scratch. So the reason why we decided not to go with Ethereum was because we process emergencies. Our tolerance for mistakes is a lot lower than most people's. If we make a mistake, someone might die, just being completely blunt. So if you look at the Ethereum blockchain, when we looked at it, we realized that it wasn't going to scale. And that's now been proven true with the CryptoKitties debacle.
Yeah.
And the other fear that we had was that the price of gas would rise to such a degree that it would price it out of range of the 4 to 6 billion people who have no 911, who are unbanked, who are the majority of the people we're trying to serve. If suddenly they can't afford the transaction fees, let alone the services, then this whole thing doesn't work. So, and currently the price of ETH transactions is at about $3. So that's out of the range. So, so long story short, that's why we stayed away from Ethereum. Bitcoin was forking in lots of different directions, and famously Roger Ver said that Bitcoin Cash was going to become the main fork. So we just kind of looked at this and we said, there's too much technical volatility. We have to be absolutely sure that everything is working in our universe. The only way to do that was to create our own token and blockchain. So that's why.
Mate, I can understand that, definitely. You can't afford to waiting for transaction times with the system blocking up. That's actually a pretty good reason why having your own token in an emergency situation. So, mate, I think we've covered a lot of things there, Mark. I just want to say about Andy. Andy's another YouTuber. Now, he's going to do a comprehensive review of Guardian Circle. He's another Australian YouTuber. So he's just done a video, guys. So just check his video out, and you'll get even a more in-depth knowledge of Guardian Circle and Guardium. So guys, like I said before, the links will be down below if you're looking to get involved with Mark Jeffrey's great project, and also any other details you'd like to know about Guardian Circle. So Mark, thank you so much for your time, mate. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And I'd just like to keep an eye on your upcoming conferences coming up, especially that one in the Canary Islands there.
Cayman Islands.
Cayman Islands, yeah. Oh, that'll be beautiful.
5 coming up. I'm going to be like 5 before the end of January, and it's January 11th, I think, when we're recording this. So yeah, this is going to be an insane month. So.
Oh, brilliant, man. Yeah, that'll be a good sort of get set in and break for you, get away and spread the good word of Guardian. Hey.
Well, listen, I really, really appreciate you having me. Thank you so much, Jamie. This has been great.
Thank you, mate. I'll see you later, hey?
We'll see you.
Yeah, mate.